One of my favorite videos to watch on YouTube is just watch people put their rig together. And so today I just wanted to share I've been wanting to do this video for a while, but I kept telling myself there are still little things that I needed for my rig. And so I just kept pushing it back. But today I want to share with you guys my minimal and then fully rigged out cinema lens. So here we are. You can see it on the table right here. And the camera that I have is the Zcam E2 F6. Since I've gotten it, I've went through several rigs, both like fully rigging it out to trying to have the most minimal rig as possible. And as you can see on this table, there's a lot of stuff on here that is going to go all on here. So let's go ahead and I'm going to talk you through all of the little things on this table that I have, and then we'll start putting them together. Ever since I came across this camera, I've been a fan of it. I love how small it is. You can fully rig it out or you can strip it down and put it on the gimbal. And then as you can see, I already have my 8-cent cage on it. It's pretty small. It kind of adds a little bit of weight to it, but I really like it. I really love this 8-cent cage. Luckily, when I got the camera, the cage came with it, so I didn't have to go out there and look at what other cages that is out there to pick out from. And I already have mounted some stuff on it, and I'll talk through it as we're building this rig out. So that's the camera body. For the lens, I have two lens options. I've already made a video about my Canon FD lenses. Right here I have a full 6K lens. There is the macro that is not in here. It doesn't fit, so I just took it out. But once I mount one of these lenses on the camera, then it gives space to put the macro lens in here. But I have my FD lenses that I have an adapter from FD to EF that I put on it. And then I do have my Canon EF 16-35. So today, most of the rig that we're going to be doing is mounting this guy. I'll probably bring out my 28 from the Canon FD. Let me just pull it out right now, so it makes it easier to just kind of like put it all together. For the lenses, yes, my Canon FDs and then my Canon EF. I don't have any cinema lenses yet, but eventually I do want to get some cinema lenses, which I already have in mind which ones I'm gonna get. And then for my monitor, I used to have the Field World. I don't remember the model that I had, but it wasn't that bright. I think it was just 500 nits. And so anytime I went out and I'm filming, I'm really struggling when I'm directly in the sun. So I decided to upgrade, and then looking at the options that I had and my budget, I went for the Portkeys LH5P, and I went for this monitor for two reasons. The first reason is it is 2000 nits, which means it is way brighter than, 3 times brighter than the one that I used to have. And then also the fact that I can control my camera using this monitor and this like control cable that I have here. Those were the two things that I really wanted, because there are sometimes when the camera is rigged a certain way, having to, push the record button was sometimes a little bit of a struggle. Being able to hit record of the camera and change your settings of the camera. I have barely changed settings using the monitor, but hitting record, I have used it several times and it comes so in handy. For my monitor is the Portkeys LH5P. I really love this guy. Very bright. And then for batteries, I have two options of batteries. The Zcam E2 F6 takes the Sony L series batteries, so I can put Sony E series batteries on here, or with this Tilta V mount adapter. So this is the NPF to V mount adapter. With that on, I can also put my V-mount battery on it. And for the V-mount battery that I have, this is the newer, I think it's the 150E something. That's the only V-mount battery that I have, which I need more. I have a few other, NPF batteries. I have like 2 of these, and then like little ones like this that I put on the monitor, because the monitor also takes the same battery, which is really great. So I have several batteries to use, but just one V-mount. Obviously, this is a cinema camera, which means even though there is an autofocus in here, it is barely usable. And so even though the Canon EF that I have is an autofocus, yeah, it's not usable at all. So I will sometimes either pull focus with my hands, or I will have this small rig to pull my focus if I have to. But if I'm in situations which I've been really loving lately, that I need autofocus, that I need to rely on autofocus, I have this, my camera stopped recording. And so like I was mentioning, for autofocus, I have the PD Movie Smart Mini 3. They just came out with the version 4, and it would be really, really nice to have that. But unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, because I still really like this guy. This is what I have, and it works very, very well. The difference between this one and the version 4, I think, is the extra battery that they added instead of the 2. And then you can charge it directly on here instead of taking the battery out to charge. And then the distance that you can focus further. Whenever I'm using my gimbal, this is what I like to use for autofocus. Even sometimes if I'm not using gimbal and I just want to use autofocus on this Zcam, this is what I use. Mentioning of gimbal, I don't have it here, but the gimbal that I use is the Ronin S. It does a really great job. I do want to upgrade at some point, but it still works. Sometimes the camera get a little bit heavy, so I can feel the models like really struggling, and so that is one of the reasons why I want to upgrade to either the the RS3 or 3 Pro or 4. And then when it comes to sound, when it comes to microphone, there is inbuilt microphone in this camera, but that's just scratch audio. So for my run and gun little stuff, sometimes I'll put, you can see I'm using the DJI Mic Mini here. Sometimes I'll connect that and use that if I want to, or I'll just connect this, my Rode Video Micro right here. I've had this for a really long time. I'll connect it to it. But if I do want to use like a bigger microphone, or like want something really big for like the rigging, I have my Sennheiser MKE 600. I love this guy. I've had this one too for a minute. And then if I'm doing kind of like off camera recording, I have a recorder that I use, put this guy on a boom pole for my short films and stuff. Yep, but today we're just going to be mounting it on the camera. For my top handle, I have this Nicey Rig small handle. I do have 2 more handles, but those are a little bit longer and bigger than I wanted on this guy. I wanted something very small, something very minimal to go with it, and I think it also goes really well with the camera. It's small enough, my hands, I don't have that big of a hand, so it's small enough but also able to fit my hand. The only downside is, there is no rubber or anything, so sometimes it can be a little slippery. And then I have this small rig, monitor mount. I have 2 of them. I have one on here and then one on my gimbal when I'm using the gimbal. So, and I really like these guys. The other one can even swivel, which is really great. But this one just goes, just tilts up and down. So that's for my top handle. And for the side handle, I have 2 of them, but I'm going to show you just one. And both of them are small rigs. So I have this small rig, right handle rosette mount that I use for my side handle. For my bottom plate, I already have, this this is what came with my Ronin S. This is the Manfrotto style plate. I have one that is mounted on the cage, and I can put it directly on my, on my stick or my tripod. But I also have this one that I have mounted, a Manfrotto plate on top of the small rig rod holders, and then I have another Manfrotto style plate underneath it. And I have these two setups because sometimes I want to mount this guy to pull focus. And so if I want to do that, I need the rods to do that. So then I can just pop this guy on and then use it. But also sometimes I don't want to have the V-mount directly on this and then this directly on the camera. And so I can mount the V-mount on here and then put all the weight on this guy instead of having it like weighing down on the camera. For my lens matte box, I have this small rig mini matte box. This is the only one that I have. I've had this for a really long time. And then I recently got this 4x4 filter holder that I put in here. I have the 4x5 as well. Now, that is all the stuff that I have. I think I've talked through almost everything on the table. So let's do the fun part and put it all together so you see how this camera kind of like runs. So I'm going to start with minimal setup. So with that being said, we're just gonna mount this battery. I forgot to mention, this camera came with this, it's called Zcam. It's the model BZH1 that kind of goes in the back of the camera before you mount this on. And so far with videos that I've watched online, a lot of people have talked about how fragile the battery connectors on the camera is. And so people will put this Zcam on. So in case any of the connectors break, then it's not actually on the one on the camera. So you can easily replace it, which is really, really nice. And again, it came with the camera, so I'm very lucky that I had it. So the battery is gonna go right here. And like I said, I have two types of the battery. So this is kind of long, but whenever I want it really minimal, I use like the smaller one. But it goes on top of there like that. And then we're gonna mount my Canon FD28. So I have on here my K&F Concept EF to FD adapter. So that goes right on here. Just kind of put it down this way and then mount it. And then we're gonna hold it down and lock it in place. So here it is right there. And I can just, go out and shoot with just this. So this camera has a little screen up here that you can use. I mean, I've used it before to focus, and I think I was able to nail focus, but you wouldn't want to use that on a shoot, on a professional shoot, or like any shoot that it's kind of serious. But I've used it before and it works. So you can take it out like this and shoot with it, or the wireless on this camera is really, really great. So you can mount your phone on here and be able to wirelessly see the feed, but also control the camera with the Zcam app. It is really, really great. I've tested it out. Even before I got this wireless antennas, it was really working great. And then now with the antennas on, I can still be able to use that and see, my framing and all that. You can even use it to pull focus. Like seriously, I've tried it all and it works. I mean, I wouldn't trust that on a professional set or like a very serious shoot, but it does work if you need that. So I can literally, like I said, if this battery is too big, You can even mount this smaller guy. I mean, you might need more of these. You might need more of this if this is what you want to go out with, but you get it. I have another one that is like a little bigger than this one, and that can give you at least half an hour of shoot. So whatever you want, it works. So I'm gonna take it off and put back this guy. So now, if I don't want to use this tiny screen to focus or to frame, and I don't want to use my phone, that is where the monitor comes in. So we're gonna mount the top handle, and we just lock it in place right there. And there you go. Another, still very, very minimal. So I'm gonna try to run through this real quick so this video is not too long. But then we mount our monitor on here. Just like that. And you have the monitor. And as you can see, it's like really, really balanced very, very well right here. Before I go any further, let me talk about the little things that I've mounted on the cage. So I have on here my rosette mount that is like for the side handle, and then I have here my SSD holder if I want to use my SSD, and I have it on already because I was using it just like last week for the shoot. And then on this side I have a cold shoe, small rig cold shoe mounted on here for any other accessories that I want to mount on it. So far, as you can see, very small, very minimal, like that. Mostly I would just like have this when I want to have the camera and put it in my bag and just pull it out and record. I've done it before. And so this goes like that. And then the HDMI that I use is this little tiny guy. I don't even remember the company that it's from, but I like how small and thin it is. I mean, it works great. So that goes, and I have this control cable kind of wrapped around it just so it's not dangling around. It feels like just one cable. So this little guy, this goes on the side here, and then this little guy goes underneath here. Make sure I'm putting it in the right way. There you go. And then what I do is I take the cable and I put it around here, and then I tuck it under. So what I do is I pull it back and I turn it down and then lock it in place. So it kind of serves as like a holder for the cable. And then the cable just kind of like the back HDMI here just kind of slides it in here. And as you can see, it's very, very low profile, and I love that. And then this tiny cable, the control cable, goes right in here, and I'm able to control the camera from the monitor. So this right here, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go out and shoot. No problem at all. So, and then obviously I have ND filters that I use. I don't have any on here, but I do have the K&F. I think it's like 1 to 6 stop ND, and then I have the Polar Pro short stash everyday filter that sometimes I will use as well. I used to also use that on here, but I realized the Canon FDs already have a very like hazy, soft look, so I stopped using that on the FDs. But let me fix this guy, it's kind of twisted. Right there. Yep, and then there it is, right here for my low profile kind of shoot. Now, if I do want to like have my side handle, that kind of goes right there. There we go. Yee. And I kind of like it like slanted a little bit, so you can have it like that, you know, and then you can just tuck it in, hold it like that, and pull focus. So mostly this is just how I'll hold it if I'm using my left hand to just kind of focus, and then the right hand right here. And if I want to hit record, like I was saying, the record button is right here, or I can just hold the camera like this, tap on the screen to record. And so you just have the camera kind of tucked in like that. So this is my minimal rig right here. So if I want to add on to the minimal rig a mat box, if I need it, especially if I know it's going to be super sunny outside, I'll just throw on the mat box as well. So just take this guy out, and I have mounted an adapter, an 82 to 82 adapter, because when I have the mat box on and I put on like a circular either ND or polarizer, sometimes it's hard to get in there. So this just kind of like bring it forward a little bit so I can be able to still mount stuff on there. So this is a 82 to 95, you know, mat box, and it goes right there. Just like that. And then now I have my mat box on there. And like I mentioned, the flag is up there, so that goes up here if I need it. So there is my minimal setup. And you know, I love this guy. Very small, very low profile. If I need sound, a better sound than the scratch sound that is in the camera, like I was mentioning, let's put some stuff away. Kind of goes right on here, and then the sound kind of goes on this side, and then it plugs in right here. I already have this guy here, so it's really hard to reach in there and plug it in. So you get it, goes right there. And then now I have like a better audio than the one that is inbuilt in the camera. So right there. Now I'm gonna take it off so we can build it out even more. So now that we have this out, now if we wanna build it up, if I know I'm going to be shooting for a long day and I need extra juice on power, that is where this guy comes in, the tilter NPF to V mount. So that goes right there. And then now I'm able to mount directly, and there is connectors in there, so I don't need any cables to power the camera on. Right there, and I can power the camera on. I don't need any more cables, so I can power both the monitor and the camera through just one V-mount battery. I don't think I've had any problems powering both the camera and any monitor, but just to be extra cautious, I'll put, you know, these little guys, and they kind of, you know, have some minutes on there, sometimes half an hour, sometimes an hour, depending on, you know, how big the battery is. But then mount a battery on here and I'm ready to go. So this makes the camera a little bit more heavier. This is it. And then, you know, maybe I'm shooting something that I don't want that vintage look, but I want, you know, a very clean, clinical sharpness. One thing too that I did was to put these little guys here, because then when I'm changing my lens or whatever, it's easy to just like sit it down like this, and it's kind of like really nice. I don't know. I did it the other time and I was really proud of it. So yeah, we're gonna change the lens and put the big guy on. So first, we take this guy off, unscrew this, and then take this guy off. So with this, you have to kind of like hold it and then lock it in place. There we go. And then now we have a big guy. And we can just, you know, put this guy, oh, my bad. There we go. It's kind of like level a little bit. So right there, as you can see, we got the rig. You know, it's becoming a big boy, you know. So right there. Now, let's say, you know, we want a bigger audio. We have this guy. It goes right there. Lock it in place. This goes here and then goes in here. Let me try to like put it in. There we go. Now, and then we have, you know, audio right there. And then I can still be able to hold it, manual focus if I want to, right there. Now, let's say I want to put this guy on there, be able to mount my focus and my rig. I don't normally do that with this lens, but let's say I have, you know, my FD lenses on there. So this guy will just slide underneath here. Oh, maybe it goes from the back. Man, this is heavy. Jeez. You get it. And then I have longer rods that goes underneath here, just not just this short one. And then I can have a lens support over here if I want to, man. See how heavy it has become by just adding all these stuff to it. So that goes right there. And then like I was saying, if I want to mount my SSD, it goes right here. I have my SSD in my computer because I'm converting the raw files that I shot the other day, last weekend, to ProRes 422 to be able to edit it in Adobe Premiere Pro. That's just one downside that I have to deal with. As you can see, now this guy is a big boy. I don't have a video transmitter. That is another thing that I want to invest in, but I've seen other people, you know, mount all those on the camera. You can put it on the side here if you want to. So yeah, so these are my longer ones. So if I want to, I just take these guys out. I don't like it when you can see like the holes like that. So I have these little guys that goes, you know, on the tips of it. So we take these guys out and then we can just slide them out. And then put in the longer guys right here. And put this guy right here. And then lock it in place. So then we can have our lens support, you know, go in right here. And I do have my lens support. Or I don't have my focus gear on the lens yet, but I'm just gonna slide this in right there. So let's pretend the focus gear is on here. So it goes like that. And then you have, you know, it right there. So this is my big boy setup. And oh man, this guy is heavy. So that is it for the bigger rig. Now I'm gonna strip it back down a little bit to put these PD movies, smart movies on. So you see how it's also mounted. There's two ways I can mount it. I can mount it on here, you know, put it like right here, or I can take the microphone off and then mount it up here. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of put it right here so you see how it goes. The only thing is, unfortunately, again, let's pretend I have my focus gear on the lens. Unfortunately, this guy always need, you know, to be able to see what the lens is seeing, because the LiDAR is kind of right here. But if you have a matte box on, it blocks it. So you either have to figure out a way to mount it up here somehow, or unfortunately you will have to lose the matte box to be able to have it see and focus. And again, this guy works pretty good. That goes on like that, and then I can have manual if I need it. Obviously, I'm not gonna have these two on at the same time. It's either one or the other, but you get it. So now let's take this guy back off, and then I'm going to mount my Canon FD and put it on so you can see. So yeah, this is the big rig setup right here. So we're gonna take this guy off. And then now we have, you know, this setup. And then if I want to mount the PD movie, again, it goes right here, and it goes, and again, I have my focus gear not on the lens, but you get it right there. Now, one thing that I also really like about the PD movie, this thing, this little guy that comes with it, you know, I've had the Tilta Nuclear Nano. I used to have that before I traded that in for this. And that one, the focus was, you know, this big, but look at how small this is compared to this, you know. So I really love this guy, and the reason why I like it is it's so small. I can either put it on the side here and pull the focus if I want to manually, or one thing that I do is I just put it on the top here, which is really convenient. And then once it's here, I just have my little finger here and I pull the focus like this. Let's see, like that, which is very amazing. So I can either have it on here, or again, it's so small I can mount it wherever I want, or I can just put it right here on the side wherever I want to. There's a lot of like mounts on this side that I can put it to. So you get it. This is it for you. This is my whole rig, and thanks for watching if you've made it all the way this far. And as you know, rigging your camera is not just a one-way street. Whatever, you rig the camera based on, the project that you're shooting, based on the needs of, the project and what you need to mount on here and all that. So sometimes this is not gonna be on, the microphone is not gonna be on. Sometimes it's not gonna be V-mount because you have the camera on a gimbal, so it's very heavy. So you strip it all down, put it on the gimbal. And let me know in the comments if you guys would like to know how I put the camera on a gimbal and how I rig it on the gimbal and use it. But as for now, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I always enjoy it when I watch other people show how they rig their camera and stuff like that. So I just figured it'll be fun and interesting to share mine with you. So thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys to the next one. But until then, bye.